Past climate changes on Earth continued. This is the second part. The first part was the Earth during the Eocene Eocene period, and this is Snowball Earth, the second part of past climate changes on Earth. Snowball Earth, the Cryogenian period. About 800 million years ago, Earth got much colder. Over time, ice covered most of Earth's surface, maybe even all of it. This was the Cryogenian period. You may have heard of ice ages in Earth's past, but the Cryogenian period was much colder than any ordinary ice age. During this period, the average global temperature may have fallen as low as negative 20 degrees Celsius, which would be negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Even the equator, which today is warm and tropical, experienced freezing temperatures back then. Nothing lived on land at that time. All life was in the ocean, in liquid water beneath the frozen surface. The only things on Earth at that time were simple sponges, worms, and microscopic creatures such as bacteria and algae. During the Cryogenian period, Earth's surface was an icy wasteland that scientists have nicknamed Snowball Earth. And then here's a picture. Always pay attention to pictures, the graphic design pictures when you're reading an article, because underneath them, there's captions that give you really good information on what you're reading. During the Cryogenian period, Earth was a cold, icy wasteland that scientists now call Snowball Earth. Possible causes of cooling in the Cryogenian. Since scientists began finding evidence of Earth's deep freeze, they have been debating what could have caused it. Scientists don't agree about the causes, but there's one thing they do agree on. Whatever caused Snowball Earth during the Cryogenian period, less energy must have entered Earth's system than exited. This could have been because the amount of energy entering decreased, or the amount of energy exiting increased, or both. So I'm going to highlight that would be the reason for the Cryogenian. So I'm going to highlight that part right here. Less energy must have entered Earth's system than exited, and this could have been because the amount of energy entering decreased, or the amount of energy exiting increased, or both. I think that's really important to what would cause the Earth to cool. And then this is another graphic to pay attention to. You see, this is the energy entering from outer space into our system, the atmosphere, and this is energy leaving the atmosphere into outer space. So when less energy enters the Earth than leaves it, Earth gets cooler. Scientists have made models to help them understand what might have caused a snowball Earth event. Earth sometimes passes through huge clouds of dust floating in space. And according to one theory, one of these dust clouds entered Earth's atmosphere about 800 million years ago. The dust blocked some of the incoming sunlight from reaching Earth's surface without changing the amount of energy exiting the system. When less energy entered the system than exited, let's highlight that. When less energy entered the system than exited, Earth's temperature cooled. Once the cooling began, more ice formed. Unlike land and liquid water, ice reflects lots of sunlight. Instead of absorbing it, sending light and its energy back out into space. When ice began building up during the Cryogenian period, the sunlight it reflected caused more energy to leave. So I'm going to underline that too. When ice began building up, the sunlight reflected rather than when it stayed into the earth like it does now. and it made it even colder. Colder temperatures led to more ice, which led to even colder temperatures, which led to even more ice, and so on. Once ice covered the entire surface of the planet, a snowball Earth had formed.